If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hi Photos family, today we're talking about photo design and layout. So what is design? What is layout? Kind of sounds like they're the same. Not necessarily. The design is how you want your photo to come out. We talked about with the framework, the PDF or the Excel spreadsheet format, even the Apple's spreadsheet format of numbers. PDFs are available for download. The framework that I designed and put out for y'all to download takes from the 4 or 3 major camera settings of ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and the composition of your photograph, helping you narrow that down into the contrast of how the photograph will be output from those settings and the focus that will be taken with those camera settings, and help you figure out what those two values are from computing from ISO and shutter speed in contrast to aperture and composition into focus. Now that you have your contrast and your focus figured out, now you can go into and sketch out what you want the photograph to look like in the end. Therefore, or that those two pieces of information helping you figure out what you want it to look like, you can design in a rough sketch of the atmosphere we've talked about, what the atmosphere of your photograph is, and the background or the location where you're taking that photograph. But then you can lay that out and add props, take away props, figure out what is good layout for the photograph, whether you need added propping or the subject that you're photographing might need an outfit change or add a hat, sunglasses, that kind of thing is all about design. Now the layout itself is the spacing between items, but specifically do you need to add space between background and subject? Because those things don't necessarily have a lot to do with the design. It keeps the same design, right? But it would be creating space between the subject, the background, the atmosphere. So really, I guess you could say it this way, that the design is the atmosphere. The layout doesn't change the atmosphere. It just changes how the atmosphere reacts together. And that either the compression of the atmosphere by the layout, adding some interest to it, causes the effect to intensify, or maybe the feel is too intensified and confuses the viewer, so that the layout causes the atmosphere to expand, so there's separation between the subject, the background, or the foreground and the subject. That's really what we're talking about, is the design creates the atmosphere. The layout is the tool that you use to compress the feeling in the atmosphere for more emphasis, or you cause that atmosphere to expand so that there's some breathing room in your photograph. That's really the difference between photograph design and the photo layout. So photo design is what needs to be put into the image for the concluded thought or the full thought to be communicated. Layout is that the atmosphere, the props, your subject are all placed properly so that there are no included questions or confusion to the viewer than necessary, that everything is in place and makes sense, answering the questions that they had originally while still leaving the possibility of some questions that lead to the next image. If you are, let's take for instance, doing a portrait shoot, and you have a series of images you have taken, and the person that's hiring you, your client, wants to take a series of say about 5 images. You might even make them a series of images from image 1 leads to image 2 to image 3, and then image 5 just kind of culminates the whole thought in the process. You could create that stepping through of we get to location and we're getting set up and kind of the chaos. I'm not saying your setup. I'm saying, let's say this is a special event like graduating high school. Graduation shoot. So you do 5 images and you kind of portray the chaos of getting to school and starting. Then you get through and you love learning, and then you kind of get a third what their favorite subject is. The fourth is, oh my goodness, school has gone by so fast, I'm about ready to graduate. And then image number 5 is, yay, we have the cap and gown, we're all ready for the ceremony, and we have really found some ways to celebrate. That's kind of the whole point with design and layout and stepping through that whole process. It can really be a lot of fun, and really bringing in these props, these objects, and then creating the compression of that time, or the design of that photograph with the layout, or allowing the space for that the subject and the thought to breathe is really important, and really causes the difference between design and layout to be much more understandable and much better viewing for your viewer, and perhaps even your client really liking to show that off to their friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a comment down below of what you've learned. If you're not yet a subscriber to our channel, we would love to add you to our Photos family. Just click that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. Thank you so much. God bless.